Hello and welcome everybody to 2008. In 2008, when Tiger Woods won the US Open with a torn ACL, that made news. Playoff, really interesting. If you want to go back and watch a fun tournament, 2008 US Open. Masters was won by Trevor Immelman. Pretty awesome year, 2008. Trevor Immelman actually in the Masters was using Nike CCI irons. These are the Nike irons, the more forgiving Nike irons that came out that year. The Sumo irons by Nike. Let's get these gems on the review table and have a closer look. This club is easy to identify in the cavity, this vast cavity with this massive yellow insert and this label right here. There is a Nike swoosh here, toe side by the top line, Sumo kind of center sole, and then this large plastic insert, which really makes it easy to identify. As we spin around to the actual sole, you'll see that there are some little scallops cut out here. And then there's the iron number right here. Has a very formal, rigid, sharp look to it. And you can see this lovely large sole. Just want to spin around, show you toe profile, show you the grooves here. There is that nice white line across that bottom groove. There is a little bit of offset here, and at address sometimes I can see on this particular iron the sole sticking out the back at address, the way I address the ball. And then as we move up the hosel, I do want to mention that there is an SQ right here for the Nike branding of all the Sumo things, like their drivers. We have a black ferrule with a silver stripe, a little silver ring there. This is a regular flex Mitsubishi Nike branded Diamana shaft, Sasquatch across here, and we do have the Nike branded grip. So you can see Nike here. So it's a lovely, massive, forgiving looking iron. The only thing we have to do is get it out on the range and see how it feels. It's Nike Sumo in the house. Do you remember when these came out? I remember when these came out. They looked so cool and so different from everything else on the planet. They were just like these massive big chonkers, and they had yellow everywhere. Look at me, which is very Nike, very on brand for Nike. So we've seen before these irons, big chunker irons through the 90s. We saw some really cool ones in the 80s. And this, to me, is just kind of Nike trying to grab market share from the young and excited kids who just want some loud clubs. That would be forgiving. And it looks like, just from all the clubs I've seen, it looks like this is designed just to be massive dampening everywhere. Let's put some soft plastic in there, just cram it full. We want it to sound nice and dull. I have not warmed up. You can see these are my first shots I'm hitting. So we're going to test the limits of Nike's forgiveness with the Sumo. What am I hitting here? 7-iron? All right, let's see. Everything checks out. Nobody downrange. I mean, it sounded solid. It carried that 150, but it's a little angle. I'm not sure if there'll be data at the end. Let's say it that way. So, yeah, pretty forgiving. It wasn't too loud. And looking down at it, on this 7-iron, the way I play it, just ever so slightly back in my stance, I can see that trailing edge here of the sole sticking out the back. So it's not just the top line, there's that little bit that sticks out, which reminds me a lot of like some massive Ping G2 style irons, other clubs that I've played in the past. So for me, not terribly offensive, not huge amounts of offset, but it's definitely there. Like I said, the grip's fine, shaft, doesn't call attention to itself, absolutely lovely. Wow. So people give Nike a lot of grief compared to some of the more established brands at the time. And
for the driver and the driver technology and shapes that Nike was coming out with, I can kind of see why. But a lot of their irons, granted, there are some Nike putters that stand out a lot to me, but their irons to me have always stood out as just like as good as anything else out there, which might not be the best if you're a company trying to win market share. If you're just as good as everybody else, just buy our brand of this item, maybe not the best. But as far as like in the modern era, looking back, if you were looking for a used set of irons, Nike might be the way to go. All right, I'm going to try to fade one a little bit here. A little forward in my stance, a little out to in motion. And I caught that a little chunky, but it did move. It went to that 150 sign, about that 150 sign. So not bad for workability. I wouldn't describe that as a massive fade of any sort, but it did straighten out my ever so slight draw. Let me tee one up here on the grass, get a really nice lie. See what we can get out of this thing. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, Nike. Man, I don't know. Like, if these were in my bag, I would be so proud of them. A stainless club, it doesn't sound too clacky. I've played some pretty clacky clubs. Nike Slingshot, speaking of Nike, very loud compared to this. So maybe they're appealing to different groups, but for me, this is, if you're looking for a forgiveness iron, and this is one of your options, why would you not choose this? In addition to that, if you've played this, they're testing the tornado alarm system here in Wisconsin. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it. I don't know if you've had this since new, I can imagine somebody just falling in love with these and just playing them for over a decade. I mean, they're absolutely fine. They're great. You get used to the looks of them, and the sound and the capabilities of them seem like they're as good as any other iron out there. I'm excited to read your thoughts, memories about the Nike Sumo irons.
These feel and look, more importantly, like a really forgiving set of irons. Supposedly they had a really thin face compared to today's irons. How does that hold up? I don't know. But they sure feel fine to hit. I mean, I hit these, I look down at them, they're just golf irons. No complaints, okay? To me, the distinguishing thing that Nike brings to the table are the looks. Do you want a big piece of yellow plastic in your irons? Some people will say definitely not. Some people will be like, yes, please, especially if you're new. You have nothing to prove, right? It's not like I need to play some really small irons to prove to everybody in my little group of friends and my father that I am a really good ball striker, okay? So, legit, some people think like that, okay? But a lot of people just like, I want iron, hit golf ball, play with friends, laugh, and just have a good time on the golf course and relax. These irons would do that for you. Okay, so we need to establish, first off, functional, great. Looks, it's a personal thing. If you like these, you like them. If you don't, you don't. Nike does a good job doing that, okay? And as far as like clubs that are available, CCIs are amazing on my list of things to review, but the Sumos themselves deserve to be remembered and deserve some attention here. So for me, what I like it that they added this interesting sole, because so much of the time you're looking at your clubs in your bag, you want to see that Nike swoosh, you want to see this like, I don't know how to describe it, just this like design right here that gives you that chiseled look, right? Just that square look. I think they did a good job designing these. Would I pair it with a Sumo driver? Probably not. There are things in 2008 that I think are more interesting than the Sumo drivers, unless you really want some attention. But these are phenomenal in that they're so different from other Nike clubs. And that's what makes Nike so cool. Like the Slingshot irons, they're really loud. These are not. These are very quiet. So to me, yeah, I like them enough. I would totally play them. And if I were, crazy, like making a YouTube video, yeah, I would pair them with a Nike Sumo Square driver. But if I were just playing these, like in say like a charity tournament or something where score kind of matters, I would, or in a tournament or just like playing like, stroke play, I would probably pair this with a different driver from the era if I were building an era appropriate set. So to me, this just puts a smile on my face. And as far as like irons go, if that it's competent, that's what more can you ask for from an iron? Put a smile on your face. That's what golf is all about. That's why we're all here. Let me know your thoughts, memories, Nike Sumo irons in the comments below. Huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate my patrons. That's why I always put credit up here, give them credit for supporting me, general support over on Patreon. Another way to support the channel is by visiting my Amazon shop. I'll put a link in the description below. I am an Amazon associate. I make proceeds from qualifying purchases. Thank you everybody for watching. I am the Vintage Golfer.